Hey guys, I see one person in here. Hi Kiki. Hi, how are you guys doing? Okay, I started this impromptu live and it took like a full 60 seconds for people to join and I was like, is anyone gonna come? But yeah, I just wanted to hop on here, chat with you guys, see how you're doing, maybe give like a few little channel updates. Just to fill you all in on what's going on, answer any questions anyone has about tarot, things like that. Not sure how long I'll stay on. I just kind of jumped on here spur of the moment. How are you guys doing? Kiki, when are you doing personals again? Hopefully, like really soon. So I'm sure you guys know if you've been following me on the community tab posts, I just relocated to a new state and I've never done that before. And I had no idea like how many moving parts and logistics and expenses were really going to be involved in that. It was crazy. So I'm finally settled into my new place, getting acclimated to my, new environment that I'll be working in and things like that. So I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks to be opening back up for services. I did complete my website. It's still kind of like not published yet because I'm working on some logistics with the business side of things. Working on hopefully filing an LLC, and then I'll be able to open back up. So I'm sorry that it's taken so long. I know that's super inconvenient for a lot of you that have been wanting to book services the last couple of months, but I just had so many things going on and I had to, put some things on the back burner, I guess, more than I would have liked. Hi, Vivian. Hi, Artemis. Artemis, you're in need of some distraction. Tell me why. What's going on with you? Thank you, Kiki. And thank you, Artemis. Hi, Tracy. Welcome. So that's the update. Working on getting the LLC filed behind the scenes and getting everything set up on the back end so that I can open back up for business. I'm really excited, you guys, because I'm adding some additional service options to my website. And I'm hoping that there will be something for everyone in terms of price point. I know that things are really crazy right now economically. So I just want to make sure that I'm offering something for everyone while still charging what I believe is my value, Artemis, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully I can entertain you and hopefully distract from that. Dee Dee, I love your reading. So amazing and insightful. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Sometimes I literally can't even, like, my imposter syndrome is crazy in my life. I just can't even believe that people follow me on here and like me, But thank you. That really means a lot to me. Oh, thank you, Artemis. You guys are so sweet. So is there anything that you guys want to talk about? Do you have any questions for me about anything? Yes, Dee Dee, like the imposter syndrome is crazy. I've definitely struggled with that on and off throughout my career. I feel like it's been getting better, as I've grown older and grown more confident in myself, but it definitely still impacts from time to time. Oh, Kiki, thank you so much. I wish I did more as well. Fortunately, I'm grateful because I have a source of income, but I do still work a regular muggle job. So that does take up a lot of my time, But I would love to be able to do more. And I'm really excited about launching my website and relaunching my business because I plan to do more. I've had so many ideas for so many years about like decks that I would like to create or different types of service offerings, classes. Like the intent and the idea is there to expand. So just taking it one step at a time. Ace of Tarot. Hello, it's nice to see you on camera. Love your readings. Thank you. Is your video quality? Oh, yeah, I'm just on my laptop right now. I have to go. Okay, bye, Tracy. Well, thanks for checking in. Thanks for being here. I appreciate the support. So yeah, what's going on? Are you guys, do you all have any questions? Anything you want to talk about with regard to like the tarot community, the spiritual community? Questions about tarot card meanings? I'll hang out for a little bit, and if you guys are interested in chit chatting, we'll stay on and I'll answer questions. So let me know, pop them into the chat. So also, for those of you that don't know, I worked in the beauty industry in the retail space for like 15 years. And the last 2 years have been the first couple of years that I have not worked in the beauty industry. But this is why you can see I have this like makeup vanity, which looks like a mess, and all of my perfume collection, because I still have all of my products from accumulating all of that over the years. All right, what's my favorite deck? Oh my gosh, that's such a difficult question because I have so many decks, and I feel like I go through phases where I use certain ones more than others. And a lot of times when I go to do pick a card readings, or if I'm doing a personal reading for someone, I just kind of pick whatever one I'm drawn to because I'm an intuitive reader. And so typically if I'm drawn to a deck, it's because there's like a certain type of unique message within that deck for whoever's watching. Right now, though, I do have this one I want to show you guys. It's a new one that my sister had gifted me. It's super cute. It's called the Wisdom of Pooh Tarot, and it's based off of Winnie the Pooh. It's adorable. All of the cups are called honey pots. So that one's kind of my current fave that I've been in. I can't even talk right now. I think I'm tired. I've been up since like 4 a.m. to work out, but that's my current favorite. Let's see. Ace of Tarot, how would you read the 5 of Swords question? Is there any alternate way of reading it? What do you mean by that? The 5 of Swords question. The laziest bee deck. Yeah, thanks, Kiki. It is super cute. Yeah. I like decks that are kind of also inspired by movies or literature. Like another one that I really enjoy is this Lord of the Rings tarot deck that I bought from a creator on Etsy. And I'm such a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. And because I know the story so well, when I use that deck, not only am I like tapping into the traditional meanings of the tarot, but you can apply different messages based off your knowledge of the content of the books and movies, right? So I love stuff like that. How would you read the 5 of Swords question? Is there any alternate way of reading? I'm still trying to understand what you're asking. But the 5 of Swords in general, I see as a card of like, it's sort of like the energy of a, like fighting a battle that no one's going to win. You know, it's like that petty kind of back and forth, tit for tat energy. Do you watch Tyler's Tarot? No, I've actually heard a lot about Tyler's Tarot. I feel like he's a really popular reader, but I've never seen his content before. I've never watched his videos. I'll definitely check it out. I just know that some people read it differently, and I'm just wondering how. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so the way that I read is kind of how I just described, where it's kind of like we're fighting a losing game. Petty, tit for tat energy. I also read it as inability to be vulnerable and let your guard down, right? Because if you think about it in that card, I wish this deck is like all out of order. I would just like find it and show it to you guys and talk you through it. I'm a visual person like that. But, you know, like when you're looking at that card, it's like one person, there's 2 people walking away feeling defeated. One person, they have all the swords, but they're just like by themselves. I don't know. It's just not it's a card that really speaks to lack of vulnerability and just being able to like be truthful about how you feel because you're afraid you're going to lose something if you do. Especially when I see it in love readings. A lot of times when I see it in love readings, it's when like both people are not being vulnerable about how they feel and they're trying to like both win by not expressing that vulnerability. And I see it in a lot of tit for tat back and forth type of dynamics in relationships. Hopefully that makes sense. How did you get into tarot? So back in like 2016, 2017, I started finding myself really drawn to tarot readings, psychic readings. I actually found this app where you could go and you could get psychic readings it was like a 3-minute reading for like $10 or something like that. And I was kind of skeptical, but also like really drawn to it. So I just started doing that. And that is actually where I connected with my friend Erica, who you guys may know and have seen on my channel, Psychic Goddess Erica. So she became like one of my go-to spiritual advisors because of that app. And then I found her off of the app and started booking like more long form readings with her. And when we did a reading one time where she said to me in the reading that she could tell that I had a really strong intuition and that I should consider getting a deck and pulling a card of the day to learn to better trust and strengthen in my intuition. And I thought at the time that the imposter syndrome, right? Like we were talking about earlier, I was like, I could read tarot. I never thought that I could do that. Well, just a couple of months after that, I went and visited a friend in Nashville, and we were just planning like a girls' weekend there or whatever. And she happened to gift me my very first tarot deck, just totally randomly. It wasn't planned. She wasn't like planning to give it to me, but she had this deck. It's called the Gold Tarot by Kat Black. That's the first deck I ever had from her. And so then I just started playing with tarot, and I would use it mostly to understand myself in relationships. Like a lot of you guys, I know you do when you come to my channel. So that's how it got started. So I just started like reading for myself. I then joined, you all may have heard of biddytarot.com. So Biddy Tarot, it's like this tarot platform and community where you can learn anything you ever want to know about tarot. There's tons of educational resources there. There are forums there where you can like chat with other readers and ask questions. And then they also will provide you with clients that you can practice doing tarot readings on for free. So I would do that to get better at reading cards. Hi, Jamie. The laziest bee. I noticed that 5 of Swords can indicate accident. It's a rough energy. That's so interesting. I haven't personally experienced that yet, but I could definitely see that perspective for sure. It is a tough energy. It's definitely not one of my favorite cards. When I see it in a card of the day, I'm like, ugh, here we go. Jamie, what is now your current marital status? I'm single. You give such great advice. Thank you. You know, everyone always tells me that. Even like in my personal life, all of my friends, they always come to me for advice. And it's always like on relationship stuff, which is so interesting because I'm not in a relationship and I haven't been in one in a really long time. Bunny Husky Mama. Oh my God, I'm so thankful you came on here. I love your channel. Thank you. Question is, I'm having a Christian journey connecting with God, but I'm so drawn to tarot. Do you think it can be intertwined? I think that's completely up to you. I mean, I don't come from a Christian background, so I can't really speak to the unique challenges that you might be facing, kind of like trying to understand how to navigate both. But I'm like a big advocate for spiritual exploration. And I also don't really think that there's any like rules that you have to follow about it. You know what I mean? I think that if you're drawn to Christianity and that resonates with you, I think you should explore that. And I think if you're drawn to tarot, you should feel free to explore that without feeling guilty about taking either path, right? I just think spirituality is really personal, and you don't even necessarily have to tell people that you're doing it. You can just keep it to yourself, you know, if you're afraid of judgment and things like that. But that's what I would say. Just do what you want to do. I mean, I definitely always explore different belief systems too, you know. Kiki, how do you read your own cards and detach? Super hard for me. So, good conversation coming through. So how do I read cards and detach? Well, it's difficult, right? I think that for like cards of the day and stuff like that, I don't really have to think too much about it. I just kind of like pull a card. I write down what the card is. I kind of write down a couple keywords that I think are themes that could be associated with my upcoming day. And then I just let it go. But if it's something that's like, you know, a topic that I'm very like emotionally invested in, number one, I always try to wait until I am in like a centered space, right? I don't want to go into the reading already feeling anxious. And I also need to go into the reading with the mindset of like being okay with whatever the cards are telling me. The other thing too that can be helpful is when you're reading for yourself, you can think about like, because I know I do this sometimes where I tend to be a little more gentle with myself. Not that I'm not gentle with clients, but I might be a little more like less likely to interpret like something negative or whatever from the cards. So I try to think of like, if I was delivering this message to a client, how would I deliver it to them? Right? Like I would definitely want them to know the truth of what I'm seeing. I wouldn't want to sugarcoat it. I wouldn't want to be mean to them about it or make them feel scared or fearful about it, but I would want them to know the truth. And it's better, even if it's not happy news, it's better to deliver the truth, the grounded truth of what you see. So kind of thinking about it like that has helped me. But to be honest with you guys, like if I'm really like needing guidance on a specific topic, I typically will go to a trusted reader to do the reading for me and not even try to read for myself. Because sometimes you just need that outside perspective to support. Let's see. Jamie says, Bunny, I'm a Christian too, but I call on the Holy Spirit for a message when Melissa is doing reading. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Jamie. And I think that's super helpful insight to share. Because like I was saying, I don't come from like a traditional, very strict Christian background, so I can't necessarily personally relate to any challenges surrounding that. Bunny Husky Mama, thank you. You're welcome. Susie Q, thank you for your great advice for beginner tarot readers. What would you say is the number one piece of advice you would give someone just starting out reading cards? Best tip or best thing to avoid? So I would say, oh gosh, there's so many things. That's really hard to answer. I would say best things to avoid is just being in a fear-based mindset about anything to do with tarot cards, right? Because if you're in a fear-based mindset about tarot cards, you're probably not going to have the best experience with it. I would also say, like, in terms of advice, find trusted resources that you can learn from, whether it's books you resonate with or, you know, different teachers out there, YouTube channels, or you could go to like Biddy Tarot, which was a resource that I used. Find those trusted resources, learn the traditional meanings of the cards, but then also learn to read with your intuition. I feel like Erica and I maybe touched on this in our last live, and now I'm sitting in my other room and I can't go get the book, but there's this book that I'm thinking of that I bought when I first started reading tarot that was all about, it was like a workbook style, and it was challenging you to read with your intuition. So it's like pulling a card, and instead of being hyper fixated on what's the traditional meaning, you should learn that, but instead of being hyper fixated on the traditional meaning, looking at it and saying, what story is this card telling right now? Like, why do we have this scene playing out right here? And what's happening, right? What does your intuition say? So reading with your intuition is super important in my opinion. And I think that brings sometimes more accurate messages than just memorizing traditional meanings of the cards. So hopefully that helps. I feel like I'm rambling a lot. Ace of Tarot, why did you want to start a YouTube channel? Any tips on growing a channel? Okay, so when I started my YouTube channel, I was still wanting to get better at reading. So a part of like getting online and starting a channel was for me to continue to practice reading. You guys, people watching YouTube are not necessarily my clients, but you are viewing my content. You're sort of a client, I guess, right? Just in a different way. So I wanted to be able to practice getting better at reading tarot, but I was also really just passionate about it. And I really enjoyed and still enjoy creating YouTube videos as a creative outlet. So that was kind of why I started. And then of course, wanting to help people through reading cards. I don't think at the time that I started my channel, though, I was really thinking about doing a ton of personal readings. I was definitely practicing them at the time on Biddy Tarot for free and reading for friends and things like that. But it was more about, just having that fun creative outlet and providing guidance to others and also learning to get better at reading cards. Tips on growing a channel. I wish I knew what to tell you. I actually feel like my channel has been really stagnant the last 6 months to a year or so. I just think the tarot market is super saturated. There's a lot of amazing readers out there. And so there are, certain channels you see pop up and they just blow up overnight. I feel like for me, I've had kind of slow, steady growth over the years that I've had my channel, which is also a good thing. But yeah, I think in terms of growing the channel, I think what I've tried to do is just remain consistent in my upload schedule, so that way my subscribers know that I'm going to reliably upload videos on certain days of the week. I also am really passionate about getting your feedback, right? You guys will notice on the community tab from time to time, I'll post like, what do you guys want to see? You know, what readings are resonating with you right now? And I try to incorporate what my subscribers want onto the channel. You don't really have to glean that info just from the community tab because not everybody engages in that. Like the best statistics that you have are looking at your, data and analytics on the back end of YouTube to see what content your subscribers watch the most. So I think the more you lean into like what people want to watch, the better your channel will grow. I think for me, part of the reason why my channel has had slower growth is because I didn't want to become a channel that just did love readings, right? My How Do They Feel Blunt AF videos typically get the highest number of views historically on my channel. Like I've had some of those get up to like 40K views or higher, right? But I didn't want my channel to just become about that because I think that we can use tarot for a multitude, of different topics. Not that it's bad or wrong to use it for love, but I want people to know that they can come to me for guidance on other things besides just love, right? So I still post the career readings and the things that I like to post while balancing out the content that I know other people want. So hopefully that answers your question, but I definitely don't feel like a subject matter expert in how to grow a channel because I feel like mine is sort of stagnating right now. Let's see. Love that. Thank you, Jamie. Okay. Susie Q. Love that answer. Thank you very much. Love all your content. Thank you so much, Susie. Yeah, I'm happy to answer questions. I love interacting with you guys. I want to start coming on lives more often. And one of the things that I'm planning to kind of test pilot once I launch my website is I want to offer for a more affordable price point readings for people on YouTube live stream, right? So like I'll come on live, it'll be like a mini reading and I'll probably cap it at like a certain amount that I'll do within the live stream. But you can submit your question and then I will come on live and I'll answer it. Just like a fun way to interact with you guys more on a live setting. And then also, allow people that are not necessarily booking services to kind of get a sense of my reading style as well. Let's see, Kiki, you're so stunning. Thank you so much. Well, thanks for stopping by, Kiki. Jamie, could you pull one card for my connection right now on how they feel, please? I'm not really pulling cards right now. I kind of just wanted this to be more like a chit chat. Maybe we'll pull cards at some point in the future, but right now I'm not feeling it. I don't think I'm mentally ready to do a reading right now. I can't even get my words out. But soon I will be open back up for services and then you can book. Mr. Street Legal, my girlfriend Layla cheated on me with my, I feel like you're trolling right now. How do I block people in here? Who writes weird stuff like that? Like, go away. Any other questions? Any other topics that you guys would like to discuss today? Yeah, I wake up like really early to go to the gym. And today I woke up at like 4:00 in the morning. So I'm a little like mentally foggy right now. I apologize. Anything else? Pop anything into the chat that you guys are curious to talk about. No trolls though, Mr. Street Legal. Oh, I can put people in timeout on here. Okay, I just hid their messages. Anything else? I'll give a couple more minutes to see if anyone has any more thoughts they want to type into the chat. Any thoughts, comments, questions? The laziest bee. How many decks do I have? Oh, so many. I actually did a purge before I moved. I donated quite a few decks. Because part of me just felt like it was too much. I had so many decks and I wasn't using them all. And I hate how they just like sit there stagnant. It's just like a lot of stagnant energy. So I don't know the exact amount, but I do have a lot of tarot decks and a lot of oracle decks. And now, like whenever I bring a new deck in, I try to be like really intentional about what it is because like, let's say for instance, I already have an animal themed tarot deck, but I'm drawn to a new animal themed tarot deck. I probably don't need two. You know what I mean? Catherine Moss. Hey, I just want to tell you how gifted you are. Thank you so much, Catherine. That really means a lot to me. Artemis, mental fog is normal. Yeah. Thank you for saying that and validating my feelings. Can we do one card question? No, I'm not answering any questions right now. Not today. Like I was saying, maybe you just jumped in, but I've been up since 4 a.m. and I have mental fog. You would not get a quality message from me right now. I could, well, maybe not. I don't think I'm like, I was going to say maybe I could pull a collective card, but then I don't know. I just don't think I'm really feeling it. Yeah, no worries at all. No worries at all. And like I was saying earlier, when I first jumped on, I will be opening back up for services soon. So if you guys are really needing a reading or needing questions answered, there will be, services available in the near future. I'm also trying to expand my offering so that there are different options for pricing, right? So we can be just a little bit more inclusive to anyone out there. Hopefully, at least that's my intention. Yeah, of course. No worries, Jamie. Yeah, for sure, Artemis. It's so hard. Like I've never had an 8 to 5 job until like the last couple of years. Prior when I worked in the beauty industry and I was like traveling a ton, I was working for like a big corporate brand, traveling all the time. It's not 8 to 5. Like you make your own schedule and you drive a lot. Like it's whatever. But because I work 8 to 5, I work out in the morning super early before work because I refuse to go to the gym after 5 p.m. because it's always so crowded, right? And I just don't have time to be like fighting for equipment, But it's hard because it makes me so tired when I start my day that early. I find myself taking a little siesta at lunchtime when I work from home. Anything else that you guys want to talk about tonight? Tarot questions, spiritual community related questions, spiritual questions. I don't know. Channel questions. We could talk about perfume. I think people have asked me to talk about that before. Bunny, you're incredibly stylish. It's cool that you have a beauty background. Do you think in the future you could do glow up readings with perhaps advice? Maybe. That's a really good idea. I never really thought about that before. Maybe that could be something that's tested out on the channel, like as a pick a card reading or something like that. That's a cute idea. But I love the beauty industry. It's like it's a huge part of who I was. The last, my whole career really. From the time I was 18, I worked in the beauty industry up until the last 2 years. So actually my intro to YouTube was the beauty community of YouTube. So I was like really into like Jaclyn Hill and Manny MUA and, all of that. Let's see. Thanks, Jamie. I love perfume too. Yes. Artemis, love that type of content. Okay. Me too. Nagutama, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. I have a question. What's your opinion of the 10 of Swords? This was the first tarot card I saw like ever. I hope it didn't freak you out because that's a really like grim looking card. But the 10 of Swords is interesting. Like it looks really scary. But to me, the way that it's always come to fruition for me, it's more about like mental stress and mental fatigue. And more often than not, it comes to me personally when there's been a situation that I've been just like really overthinking, really being over dramatic about in my head. Like I've worked myself up to this place where now I'm just like completely like mentally tapped out and exhausted, So yeah, a lot of times that's when it comes through for me. And so it's actually because that's been my experience with it. I'm not that I'm not scared of any of the cards, but when it comes out like in a card of the day for me, I'm like, oh, this could be a day where I overdo it. Like I'm not afraid of the card, even though it looks kind of scary. That card too, the other thing that I like about that card is like, it's really kind of signifying the ending of a cycle, hitting rock bottom, meaning like you can only go up from here. And even when you look, I wish I had the Rider-Waite deck in front of me so I could show you guys the visual, but when you look at the card, it's a lot of this dark black sky, but you can see the sunrise starting to come up in the distance, right? Off in the horizon. So I always think of it as like, we've hit rock bottom and now there's a dawn of a new day. Like we get to start fresh from here. The laziest bee. Yes, perfumes. What's your favorite for now? Oh my gosh, that's so hard. So there's a brand that's at Sephora that I love called Ellis Brooklyn, and they have this scent called Bee, which literally it's like a sweet honey type of smell. It's one of my favorites right now. They have a lot of scents that I like. Let's see. I'm trying to think, what else do I gravitate toward over there? A lot. I also really like the Nest fragrances, also at Sephora. The one that I like the most right now is probably Sun-Kissed Hibiscus, because it smells like, I don't know, it smells like the sunset at the beach. I don't know. It's just amazing. Those are probably my go-tos. But as you can see, I have quite a few to pick from over there. I have a full fragrance wardrobe. How do you feel about all the love readings on YouTube? I mean, I think it makes sense, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people are looking for love, you know, and I feel like as humans, that's a lot of the reason why we're here, right? Is to love each other. So I think that it makes sense, but sometimes, I'm not going to lie, sometimes it does make me feel a little bit sad because, so I know that not everybody who watches love readings may be watching them for this, but I do think that there is a large like subset of people who are drawn to those readings because they're in unhealthy relationships and they're looking for reassurance. You know, they're looking for reassurance, they're looking for answers, they're struggling to connect in a healthy way with a romantic partner. And so I think like that's part of the draw to the tarot readings is that people are trying to understand why. They're trying to understand themselves. They're trying to understand someone else. They're trying to find answers. So I think that makes me sad because it really shows how many people are struggling in this area of life, right? But I also think a lot of people, you know, they like love readings just to like get the tea. It's like entertaining to watch how do they feel, or like the 18 plus readings, you know what I mean? So I know it's not that deep for everyone. I think they're fine. I just think that it's important to watch responsibly, right? Watch responsibly, especially like on YouTube when you're viewing general readings. My content included in this, right? And that's why I always have a jillion disclaimers in the description box, and I say them on the YouTube video itself. You know, you have to make sure that you're checking in with yourself and saying, okay, is this really my message, or is this just telling me something that I think I want to hear? You know what I mean? I don't think they're inherently bad or good. I just think they are what they are. And I think it's up to us as readers to properly educate, you know, the viewer on how to view these readings responsibly. And it's up to the viewer to be discerning. Did I predict moving when I'm reading my own tarot? I feel like I did. But now I can't specifically remember. I'd have to go back in my little journal where I would keep track of my month ahead readings and things like that. But to be honest with you, I had been wanting a change for a while. You know, after I left my most recent job in the beauty industry, it was a job that I really loved. It was a huge part of my life for 6 years. It was a huge part of my identity. And that job ended due to, you know, 2020 events that impacted a lot of people's jobs. Luckily, I didn't get laid off, but you know, it kind of signified change and the end of that role coming to a close within the coming years. So, you know, when I moved into the next company that I was working for and got a different job, I was very unhappy. And I was working from home after traveling a ton. So I'm saying all this to say, like, I had been ready for change after exiting the beauty industry and working a different corporate job. So it was going to happen whether the tarot predicted it or not. The 10 of Swords did freak you out. You said, that's why I started to learn tarot. I was about to do my final exam to become a lawyer. It scared me, but now I know better. I passed my exam and I was finally free. Yes, you see? That card, it's like totally just like, for me, not in every situation, but so often it's like we're just overthinking and just being too dramatic in our mind about something, you know? Stressing ourselves out. Artemis, do you ever get so confused when you read for yourself? Sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, especially if it's like especially when you get into a habit of like reading on the same topic over and over again, like sometimes it does get confusing because I feel like spirit is like, just cut it out. You know what I mean? Like, do the reading one time, journal about it, take a few days to reflect. Like, even if something is confusing for you in the moment, sometimes just taking a step back, taking a couple of days to reflect, you will get the message as time goes on. Sometimes you have to wait for something to play out too, right? And so I think where a lot of confusion comes in is when people do a reading and they don't really allow enough time to pass before reading on the same subject again to kind of see how the energy plays out. Try Zoologist B, fitting for your name. Is that a perfume? Because that sounds like something I'm going to write down right now so I don't forget. Where do you get it from? Zoologist B. Crystals and paint. Hi. Oh, I love your name, Crystals and paint. Those are two things I enjoy as well. Artemis, I get so confused sometimes too. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, good to always just be responsible. I mean, I think the best thing that you can do when you're reading for yourself is to just like first be in a neutral space about it and be ready to accept whatever cards come out. Journal it, write down what you think it's trying to tell you, and then just like walk away and live life and just see how things play out. That's what I do too when I get so confused. I step back and just go with the flow. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What else? Are there any types of readings that you guys typically like to watch on YouTube? So Ace of Tarot had asked me, how I felt about the love readings on YouTube. How do you guys feel about them? Lucky Scent. Okay. I will definitely be checking that out. I love perfume. Not that I need any more, but I will definitely check it out. I wrote it down on my little Post-it here. Do you have any daily practice tarot-wise? Yes, I do. So it's in the other room. I don't want to get up right now, but I have this really amazing planner. It's by this company called Ritual, and it's spelled Writual. They make these really amazing planners that come with little card of the day sections built into your like daily calendar, I guess. They also have like astrology stuff in there too. So like on the main calendar for the month, you can see like where all the planets are at a given time, which is kind of cool. So I use that, I use it as my planner to like plan my life, my bills, my activities, right? But then every single day, I use that little section for our daily card pull where I will pull a card of the day. And then I pull the card and I write down like a few keywords that I associate with that card that I think might impact my day ahead. And then I just go about my day. And then later I come back at the end of the night and I reflect on how that card ended up playing out for me that day. And it's interesting because sometimes like it'll really be spot on. And other times I'll be like, I don't know if anything really came of that today, But that's what I usually do every day. Ace of Tarot. I do like the love reads, but as an avid watcher of tarot, I find that sometimes it can be oversaturated. I wish they focus a lot more on self-seeing, as most of the time I'm single. Yeah, I agree with you. The problem is like it's a balance between, how do I say this? Like the problem is like when you're creating content on YouTube, creators want to get views for their content, right? That's just like, it's natural. You want to feel like you're getting some sort of incentive for the work that you're doing. So whether that's views or getting, money for it or whatever. And so the more self-reflective, self-empowerment type of readings, they just don't get as many views. Now, there are some readers on here that do. Like there's one reader named Rosology who I really like. I feel like she barely posts any love readings and she does amazing on her channel. But like when I try to post stuff like that, it gets no views. I still try to do it because I'm passionate about like making sure that the content on the channel is diversified and that it's not just love readings, but it can definitely, like someone was asking me earlier about growing your channel, like posting a lot of content that is not going to get viewed or garner a lot of interest. It definitely stifles your growth. So it's kind of about finding that balance, And unfortunately, more people want to watch the love readings about another person than do a self-reflective reading, Sharon, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I apologize if I'm not. What are some self-care practices that we need to take account when doing tarot? I feel a lot of behavior, like asking questions that make you anxious, etc., can be really harmful to mental health. Yeah, that's a really good question. Self-care practices. Well, like I was mentioning earlier, I think just making sure that before you sit down to do a reading for yourself or for someone else for that matter, it's really important to be in like a grounded, mentally clear space. And I think when you're talking about asking questions, I think it's also about formulating empowering questions, because in my opinion, if you ask a question that's empowering, it helps you feel like you're more in control of the situation. And part of being anxious is like, it comes from feeling like you're not in control. So to give you an example, like if you were to ask the question, when am I going to find love? You'll pull some cards, you'll get an answer. You might see like the Knight of Cups and it's like, oh, the love's coming soon, right? Someone's going to ask me on a date potentially soon, right? Or you might see like the Ten of Swords, which that does not mean love's coming into your life. You know what I mean? So if you're going to get if you get the Ten of Swords, that's not very empowering when you're asking, when is love coming into my life? Like, what does that tell you? It tells you I'm overthinking about it. I'm overstressing it, but it's not really giving you anything to work with. So maybe instead of asking a question that's like, when will I find love? It could be like, how can I find love? What steps can I take to attract love into my life? Pull a few cards, right? Maybe again, you get the Knight of Cups and that could be telling you, go out and, flirt with people. It could be like, go out and do fun things that you enjoy that allow you to emotionally express to others, right? Take action of some sort is what it would be telling you. So I think like the way you phrase the question can sometimes feed into anxiety inadvertently, because, just asking when something's going to happen is sort of just, what can you really do with that other than just say, okay, well, I received that and that's it, Hopefully that makes sense. I like ASMR tarot videos, so relaxing, and I can also learn. Yes, so my friend over at Crystal Tide Tarot, she just posted an ASMR tarot video the other day. You guys should check it out. I think it was a pick a card. She's an amazing reader, you guys. She has a very small channel. Again, I don't understand YouTube sometimes because I feel like she's such an amazing, talented reader, and she has about 1,000 subscribers. And I recently got a personal reading with her. She has an Etsy shop where I booked a reading, and it was like so accurate. Everything she said was going to happen came to fruition like within a couple of days, and it was insane. But yeah, if you like tarot ASMR, you should check out her stuff. Catherine Moss, I'd like readings about friendships and family relationships too. Yeah, I agree. Over on the membership side of my channel, we did recently do, I think, a couple of pick a card readings centered around family and friends. And sometimes I post that topic, what's their issue with you? Because I understand that not everybody is asking about like love in that. It's more open to interpretation of other types of relationships. But I agree, Catherine, like I think maybe that could be a room for opportunity on my channel to kind of expand more on that topic of friendships, because those are really major, and family. Those are really major relationships in our lives. Even coworker relationships. Like I've had some really intense coworker relationships, like good and bad. It's not always like the romantic relationships that push us to grow and change. Are you going to change your YouTube name after all? I don't know. I think so. I'm still kind of mulling it over, but I am leaning toward changing it because there are other things that I want to do with the channel and with my business besides just tarot card reading. I think the name tarot will still be in the name, but I just have other ideas that I think could fit better into like a different type of branding, if that makes sense. Thank you for going live. It helped. I have to go because the pain is really bad. I'm so sorry, Artemis. Well, I hope you feel better. And thanks for hanging out for a little bit. It was great chatting with you. Sharon, I really love your readings. By the way, you've really helped me develop my strengths as a tarot reader. Recently started professionally, and I find your blunt style really aspirational. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. I hope that you all find me blunt, but still, like, I still try to be kind. You know what I mean? Like I never want anyone to feel like crap after a reading, but I know sometimes like there are just certain things that are going to come through that are not going to make anyone feel good. You know what I mean? But I just feel so passionately about not blowing smoke up anyone's, you know what I mean? Like that's not going to help anyone. We have to be grounded and practical about what we see in the cards. Spiritual, but practical, and finding that balance. The laziest bee. The large, massive channels are almost always scammers. The true ones have much smaller fan base. You really? I don't know. I can't really think of any large channel that I would say is a scammer. personally. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I'd be curious to know like what makes you think that, like what you've seen that led you to that conclusion. But I think what I've seen, like in terms of that, like some discourse on the Reddit threads, because sometimes I read Reddit just to kind of see what people are talking about with YouTube tarot in the community, And I think that a lot of people feel like the larger channels that are reading for larger collectives, like their readings may not always resonate as much, because if you think about it, they're reading for much larger groups of people, right? And so they find that going to the smaller channels, they resonate more closely with the messages, which kind of makes sense. How do you write her name to look it up? Whose name? Did I say someone's name earlier? I can't remember now. Type it into the chat so I know who you're talking about. Oh, is it Crystal Tide Tarot? Probably. So it's spelled Crystal, Tide, Tide, Tarot. I've posted some of her videos on my community tab before, so if you scroll down far enough, you'll probably see one. Oh, okay. Not cheaters, just cheesy and fluffy. I see what you mean. Yeah, I get that. I can see that. There are definitely some bigger creators that I have followed for a long time that I would agree. They tend to be very optimistic and very fluffy in their delivery. But one thing I was thinking about the other day with regard to this topic is there have actually been times where I needed that more. You know what I mean? Like, especially the last couple of years with me going through like such a difficult time with exiting out of my old career in the beauty industry and going into like a new job that I didn't really love at the time, not really being happy in my living situation, feeling really stagnant. I was just not in a good place. And so I actually went to some of those readers that I knew were more fluffy, because I was like, I just need it to be positive right now. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, I think it's great that we have like a diversity of, methods in the spiritual tarot community. People can kind of know what they need in the moment and know who to go to for what. And that's kind of always been how I've even approached booking readings, because I don't go to just one person for tarot. Like I have different readers that I go to for different things. Blunt as in genuine and uplifting without buying into toxic positivity or false promises. Yes, Sharon. And that's exactly what I'm going for with the blunt readings. You're so pretty. Thank you so much. Not scammers, but some channels that promote toxic and damaging concepts. Twin flame. Yeah, I agree. If there's anyone on here that does resonate with the twin flame concept, this is no like disrespect to your belief system. I just, from my personal experience of reading cards for myself over the years and also for clients, I just think that our concept of twin flame might not be completely accurate to what really ends up happening. You know what I mean? And if you really think about like the twin flame concept itself, where they're talking about like this dynamic of running away and chasing and triggering each other, it just, as Erica would say, it just sounds like struggle love. You know what I mean? Not that it's bad to learn things about yourself in relationships, but I just think like the whole twin flame thing can sometimes promote people staying in really unhealthy relationships, because they're very like tied to this romantic term of twin flame, versus focusing on the grounded aspect of what are the facts of what's actually happening in my relationship. It's great if on a spiritual level, my cards are saying they're a twin flame. Like, it's cool. We have the spiritual term, but what's the reality of what's happening and how this person is making me feel, So yeah, I understand that perspective for sure. Yes. What's the name of the ASMR girl? Crystal Tide Tarot. She doesn't typically do it all the time, I don't think, on her channel, but just the other day she posted a pick a card reading that was ASMR. So you guys should check her out. She's amazing. Yeah. So for me with the twin flames, it's really interesting because, should I get into the story? Hopefully this person doesn't watch what I say. So I had this person in my life who this was like a couple of years ago. This was probably during like the 2020 timeframe. And this person was in my life, I guess, as a friend. It was sort of had like romantic undertone, but not really. It never really got to that place. But it was weird because like we definitely had this weird like mirroring energy that we were doing with each other. We were both Gemini. This person was like, it was so interesting because this person was like placed into my life. Like when I moved to the last city that I was living in for the last 8 years, this was like one of the first people that I met there. Okay. Because they signed me up for a gym membership at my gym. And then like over the years, I would just randomly have these interactions with them. And then we started having more meaningful interaction, probably like around 2020, 2021, whatever. Whenever I would pull cards on this person, I would get twin flame and I'd be like, ew, like, I don't even feel that way about him. You know, it wasn't really romantic. It was just kind of like this weird thing, you know, between us where there was kind of like that interest, but kind of not. And we clicked. We had a lot of similarities in terms of like family dynamics that we would talk about a lot, you know, and we would talk about that stuff. So I would always get the twin flame card for him. And when we stopped talking, it made a lot of sense because there were certain things about that connection that he was like triggering in me, you know? So like, for instance, learning to speak up for myself, call things out that don't really seem right. And I know for a fact that I triggered some things in this person because they don't talk to me anymore. But that's my example of getting the twin flame card, right? So it wasn't like this big romantic thing. It was like we were just mirroring something back to each other that I think we both needed to become aware of in ourselves. Let's see. Gemini is the best. I'm in Aries. I get along well with Geminis in my life, I've realized. Yeah. What's your zodiac? So I'm a Gemini sun. I could give you guys the whole chart. Gemini sun, Sag moon, Virgo rising. My Venus is in Gemini. My Mars is in Pisces. Jupiter in Taurus. Saturn in Capricorn. Neptune in Capricorn, Uranus in Sag, and Pluto in Scorpio. Now you have my whole chart. So yeah, I have and Mercury in Gemini as well. I have a ton of Gemini. What else do I have in Gemini? Chiron, and all my Geminis in the 10th house, by the way. So it's like public image stuff. I think Geminis are great. We get a bad reputation for like being two-faced, but I think we're just flexible and adaptable. I think an unevolved Gemini can definitely come across as like being two-faced, you know? I definitely feel like when I was younger, I kind of struggled with that, you know, because I was still like finding my own sense of self, you know, so I would just kind of like adapt to whatever this person said and then that person said. So I could see why people would think a Gemini could be two-faced. Venus in Gemini, boredom will kill you. Yes. I think it's one of the reasons that I remain single for a long time because I can usually tell, like, you know, I can usually tell pretty quickly if someone's going to be able to captivate and hold my attention. And I've realized, you know, as I've gotten older that someone who can communicate well and have like an interesting conversation about current events or, you know, politics or spirituality, like I like someone who can mentally stimulate me and help me think differently and be curious about life, you know? So if someone doesn't have those traits, I will definitely find myself getting bored. Or if someone's not good with communication, they shut down. It's going to kill the attraction for me. So yeah, Venus and Gemini, you know, I think it's just about understanding what you need and what works and what doesn't work, you know? Thank you for sharing your story. I think twin flame describes attachment issues, anxious avoidant. I think it only works if you use it to understand in which dynamics you might be stuck in. Yeah, I think that's a really great perspective to have on it, you know? It's interesting too with like the attachment stuff, because I've definitely had my challenges with that as well. And with the tarot cards, the card that typically comes up for me when there's like an attachment thing going on is the Four of Pentacles. I don't know if I've talked about this on the channel before. I think I have, and my tarot cards is feeling short about this, but the Four of Pentacles I've seen come up when there's like an anxious attachment or like an avoidant attachment. Kind of makes sense, right? Because like the Four of Pentacles can talk about like like wanting to hold on to something, being possessive over something, which I would say could be like the anxious. But the other side of the coin is that the Four of Pentacles is closed off from letting people in, which I would say is like the avoidance side, right? Four of Pentacles outside of just the attachment stuff can talk about like jealousy and frugality, so it's like kind of interesting that card speaks to that for me, but that's what I've seen. We have more faces than two, much more. Absolutely. Geminis, we have a lot of varied interests. That's for sure. Not the damn Four of Pentacles guy. That's also my stalker love card. Yes. Well, that person probably like really likes you and wants to be possessive over you, jealous to see you with someone else, wants you all to themselves. I definitely had someone in my life that I would get that card for, his energy toward me. And he was very like anxious. He wanted me to himself. It was probably my Gemini Venus that was triggering that for him. I can't even fully blame him for feeling that way. Let's see. Diana, hi. It's great to have you live. We're not doing card pulls right now because I was telling them earlier, I have been up since 4 a.m. I'm a little mentally foggy. So no card pulls. We're just kind of chit-chatting about different spiritual subjects and tarot and things like that, or whatever you guys want to talk about. Waiting for personal readings to open up. Yes, they will be opening soon. I was sharing at the beginning of the live that I'm working behind the scenes to register my LLC so that I can like fully officially reopen my business. So once all of that is done, I will launch. My website is pretty much done. I just have to do all the back end stuff to get it set up and get it up and running, and then I'll be back open again. And Diana, since you're mentioning card pulls on live, one of the services that I'm planning to offer going forward is periodically I'm going to be offering mini readings on YouTube live stream. So there'll be like a much lower price point from the standard services that I provide. You book the reading on my website, and then I will come on live on the scheduled day and do all the mini readings for everybody who booked. So that live stream readings will be coming. Has anyone ever told you you give Alexis Rose vibes from Schitt's Creek? Literally, like if Alexis was a tarot reader. I've never seen Schitt's Creek, so I'm gonna look up this person. Alexis Rose. Is that like a character or an actor? I'm sorry, I'm really bad about watching like popular TV shows. Oh, interesting. I would love to hear. Oh yeah, fictional character. Tell me why. I remind you of her because I don't know anything about the show. Typically I get, for celebrities, I get Anne Hathaway. And in the past I've gotten Katy Perry, but I don't really feel like I look like Katy Perry as much. What are your favorite tarot oracle decks? Maybe this already been asked, came in late. That's okay. So I was saying earlier that I have so many and it's hard to pick because I just gravitate toward like whatever I'm drawn to in the moment. But recently I got this Wisdom of Pooh tarot deck. My sister gifted it to me and it's my current favorite. It's like really cute. All of the cup cards are referred to as honey pots. So they're not cups, they're honey pots, which I think is adorable. I also like the Lord of the Rings tarot deck that I got off of Etsy. I really like decks that kind of like have literary or movie related themes to them because I feel like you can pull a lot more messages out of it besides just the traditional. Oracle decks. You know what? I have this one sitting in front of me that I was playing with earlier. This is like a new addition to my collection. It's called the Career and Life Oracle deck. This one's really cool for career reads. I think I got it on Amazon. I don't really typically like to shop on Amazon, but I think someone had gotten me a gift card. Not really a fan, but it'll have like a little career, like they're all related to career, money, and just like life messages in general. So I've been really enjoying this one for Oracle decks. And then you guys will probably see this, if not already, in some upcoming YouTube videos, but I got this new Oracle deck from Simplistic Mystic, which I didn't realize she had a YouTube channel. I literally just found her the other day on YouTube, but she makes these really cool Oracle decks. And this one I really like. It's called the Modern Love Oracle, but I love how it has like very, like current types of love scenarios, like DMs, right? So I've been liking this one lately too. Character, she's gorgeous, similar voice and appearance. Oh, that's cool. Have you ever seen the Jane Austen Oracle deck? No, I haven't seen it. That sounds really pretty though. I'll have to check it out. I got the Winnie the Pooh deck. It took forever to finish on Kickstarter. Yeah, you see that my sister, I think, had pre-ordered it, or I don't really know how the Kickstarter decks work, but she had been intending to gift it to me either for like Christmas or my birthday last year. And finally it came in and I got it like a couple of weeks ago from her. So it's super cute. Cool if you're doing a Tigger one. That'll be cute too. Are there website or apps where you can put what cards you got and it can tell you what it means? Well, there are definitely websites and apps that can give you tarot card meanings, right? So the one that I have on my phone for tarot is, I think it's just called the Tarot app. And it literally, let me see if I can, this is what it looks like. Oh, you guys can't really see because of my ring light, but it's just called Tarot. And you can go in there and do card pulls and it'll tell you the meanings of the cards. Labyrinthos is another app where you can do tarot readings and learn tarot card meanings. For websites, I like the Labyrinthos website as well for tarot card meanings. I like, I think it's called the tarotguide.com. I used that one a lot when I was learning. It's like all purple, the website. And then Biddy Tarot as well is a great website for tarot card meanings. But if you're asking about like, I'm wondering if you're asking about like you pull your cards and then the app interprets it for you. I've not seen anything like that. But on these other apps that I was talking about, it sort of kind of does that. You can actually tell ChatGPT the question you asked and the cards you got. It will give you a nice baseline. Well, that's cool. I have not experimented a lot with ChatGPT. I feel like I need to get on board because so many people have been leveraging that and for many different things, and I need to learn more about it. Have you ever had strange or inexplicable experiences while reading tarot? The only thing that I experience on a regular basis is gold orbs. And you guys might see them when you watch my tarot videos because they show up on camera. You know, like I'll be doing a reading and these little gold orbs will start flying across the screen. I remember when it first happened, it did freak me out because I'm such a logical person. I was like, what is that? But now I'm just used to it. You know, I can't explain it. It's just energy. I like to think it's my higher self just sending me sparkles when I read to confirm that I'm on the right track, you know? Oh my God, love that one purple website. It's super awesome. Probably the best resource. Yeah, that one is good because it breaks each card down for upright and reversal. And it gets to granular with like general interpretation, love and relationships, career, and I think even health on there. I don't really advise reading for health, especially if you're someone that tends to get anxious about stuff like that. But that website does give health interpretations. So those are all really good resources. I'm trying to think of anything else that I could, oh, something else inexplicable. This is more like psychic type stuff. I don't really like to advertise myself as a psychic because it's not really something that I'm specifically like trying to be, you know? It's just something that like certain things will happen and I haven't really learned how to like tap in and like evolve it, I guess. I do experience something called clairsentience, which is like the emotion. So like if sometimes when I'm recording a pick a card reading, I can kind of feel like emotion coming through before I've even pulled cards, right? So like I'm shuffling the deck and then I start to feel emotion. Like this person is feeling depressed and then I'll pull a card and I'll be like, they're depressed. You know what I mean? I'll pull cards that kind of confirm the feeling that I'm getting in my body. I've also had experiences where I was doing a reading and I was seeing in my mind this specific oracle card from the Black Moon Astrology Tarot deck. I'll never forget this because it was so weird, but cool. I was seeing the lunar eclipse card from that deck and I was getting ready to use that deck in the reading, but I hadn't gotten to it yet. And I was just, you know, pulling cards. I was doing the reading. I think it was for a pick a card on YouTube. And I'm thinking to myself, why am I seeing that card in my head right now? And I just kind of dismissed it, right? I go to pull the Black Moon Astrology Tarot deck. I start shuffling. Guess what card came out of the deck? It was the lunar eclipse card. So I think that's like some form of clairvoyance. But again, I haven't really learned how to like fully tap into it yet. It just happens randomly. So those are kind of weird experiences, I guess, that I've had. How do you explain tarot, what it connects with, our subconscious or spirit guides? I think it all is subjective to your beliefs, right? Because everything you do, like, you should have some sort of intent. Like you go into it with a specific intention, right? So for me, when I do services, on YouTube or for clients, I'll use the term spirit because I feel like spirit is more of like a kind of just like a general term that could fit a lot of different belief systems. So whether someone believes it's their spirit guides, their higher self, source, God, the creator, whatever term they use, I just feel like spirit is more neutral. That's my way of trying to be inclusive to all beliefs by saying spirit. When I read for myself, I typically think I feel more connected to the idea that it's my higher self or my subconscious, that it's just reflecting back to me what I already intuitively know. There have been specific times, though, where I've specifically asked to connect with ancestors, and I can sometimes see differences in the messages that come through. So I think it's all about your intention that you put into it and what you believe, and I think it can be anything you make it. There are also a lot of readers out there that don't believe tarot is anything spiritual. It's really interesting if you go in the Reddit threads and read different opinions about this. And I don't really think there's any right or wrong way. I think it just depends on how you like to use it. So the purple site, I think it's called thetarotguide.com. Let me see really quick. The tarot. Yeah, it's called the Tarot Guide. Okay, Jamie, let's say I pull 3 cards for myself, but I don't know what it means with surrounding cards. I've done the chat, but it's so boring. Okay. I like the term spirit. It's definitely more broad than angels and specific figures. Yeah, I agree. Sharon, that's cool. I have experienced the same thing, seeing the cards before I pull them. Sometimes I like to do tarot reverse, predict the cards I think are going to fall. I can't see because the little heart's in my way. That I think are going to fall before I pull. Yeah, fall out before I pull. Yeah, that's cool. I think that's probably a really great way to test your psychic gifts or train your psychic gifts. But yeah, I agree, Bonnie. I like the term spirit, for that reason as well. Just keeps it more broad, keeps it more general. And then like you as the viewer, you're going to go into the reading with your own intention behind it of what you may believe it is. What else? We still have 10 people in here. Or 11 people maybe. Do you guys want to chat about anything else? Anything else on your mind? Should we do these lives more often? I've kind of been enjoying chatting with you guys. Bonnie, do you do pendulums? I have a few, but I get confused by them. I do have a pendulum. I don't typically use it in my practice. And maybe this is just a me thing, but I feel like it's not accurate for me. I feel like I can control the pendulum by, like, if I start to think the answer is yes, then it moves in a yes position. And then if I start to think the answer no, then it moves in the no position. Like, I feel like I'm too controlling of the answer. You know what I mean? So it's probably something that I'm doing wrong that I need to maybe go into it with a different mindset. But my friend Erica over at Psychic Goddess Erica on YouTube, she uses pendulums a lot. I actually recently got for her this really cool pendulum board, and it has like the different tarot cards on it, yes and no, different things on there where you can like use the pendulum to get answers off the board. So I know she's been using that in some of her readings and card pulls and things like that. And I feel like she actually has some tutorials on her channel about how to use pendulums. I probably need to watch that myself since I'm not doing it right. Let's see. More about you. What's your favorite drink and food? We need a hair care routine ASAP. Oh my gosh. I think the camera is hiding my split ends right now. But thank you. That's very sweet of you. So when it comes to food, I'm pretty boring right now because I'm very passionate about my health and fitness goals. I'm on like a very strict regimented meal plan, counting macros, protein, fats, and carbs, and counting calories. Well, I don't really count them. Like, I was working with a fitness coach for a little while, and what he would do for me is he would calculate everything for me, and then he just tells me the measurements of how much I'm supposed to eat of everything. So it's not like I'm sitting there obsessing over the amount of calories. I just use my little food scale to weigh like 6 ounces of chicken or whatever it is. But if I was choosing what type of food that I wanted to eat and just like indulging in what I like, I'm really open to anything. I will try anything. I'm not a picky eater at all. It's just like right now, I just focus on my fitness goals because I want to have a hot summer bod and be healthy. And with drink, like again, I'm kind of boring. I drink a lot of water. If I'm going to drink soda, I want just a regular Coke, but I don't drink it very often. I did recently discover Olipop soda, which is supposed to be like healthier, allegedly, soda. So I really liked those. But yeah, I don't drink alcohol very often. So I guess I'm just kind of, it's not a very exciting answer, but it's the answer right now. Let's see. I also feel like I control the pendulum, like I'm cheating. Yeah, exactly. Like we need to practice this. What are your thoughts on using tarot for deity identification? It's always worked for me, but I've always seen people on Reddit, etc., who are very anti-using tarot. I'd be curious to know why. I don't know. I feel like there are so many people out there, like with any belief system or tool. I think there are too many people that are very like rigid, like you have to do it this specific way. And I just don't agree with that perspective. Like, I think if it's, I don't know, to be fair, like I don't know a lot about deity identification because I don't work with that in my practice. So I am maybe ignorant on the subject. I don't know why I'd be curious to know why they think it's bad to do. But like I was saying earlier, when someone asked the question about like, exploring Christianity, but also exploring tarot, I just think like your spiritual practice is your practice. And if you feel guided to do something, you should do it. You should try it out. Pendulum is great for finding lost objects. I had success in hopeless cases. Oh, that's really interesting, Laziest Bee. I would love to hear more about that. I've been loving the Mediterranean diet. It's such a good cleanse for what you've been eating. Kind of crappy. I needed it after coming home from college. Yeah, for sure. Sometimes your body just needs like a nice reset. I will say though, like I do still try to be balanced, right? Like, so for instance, on Sunday, I'm going to brunch with a friend. I don't give a crap about my diet that day. You know what I mean? I'm still going to have a nice brunch. Doesn't mean I'm going to go crazy, right? But I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm not going to be worrying about, oh my God, I'm not eating like chicken and rice right now. You got to live your life. But yeah, I agree. Like sometimes it's nice to have that nice cleanse detox by switching up the food you eat to be more clean, Abigail, people on Reddit are against it. Yeah, they really are. Like a lot of them have very fixed mindsets, even about doing love readings for tarot or asking how someone else, like they would hate my guts if they knew the types of readings I did on YouTube. I just think it's important, like for you to like you're asking my opinion. I think it's great to ask other people's opinions, read on anything, right? With regard to spiritual practice, like look at different opinions, different ways of doing things and experiment and draw your own conclusion about what feels right to you in your spiritual practice. I think as long as you're not hurting anyone or hurting yourself, why not? Maybe that's because I have Jupiter in the 9th house in my chart. I just like to expand and explore all these different belief systems and I don't like rules, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that's what that means, but it feels like it could be related. Let's see. Is there anything else? It's a bit random, but I seriously appreciate how you shuffle your cards. So many people say that. Some people are so rough. It's literally the entire deck flying out. Yeah, I've seen that before where they're just going in and like all these cards are flying and jumping out. I mean, to each their own, right? I like a more, I don't know, maybe it's just like I don't know. I like a nice, clean shuffle, that just looks really aesthetically pleasing and it sounds good, And also like I want my card decks to last. You know what I mean? These decks are so beautiful. I don't want to mess them up. But whatever works for people, they should do. But thank you. I appreciate you saying that about my shuffling. I actually did create a tarot shuffling ASMR video a long time ago. It didn't do very well, but I did it because so many people were asking me about like how I shuffle and how relaxing it was. So you can find it on my channel. I think I did it like last year or the year before. Oh, someone asked about my hair care routine. All I do right now is I wash twice a week. I've been using a scalp shampoo from the brand Briogeo. I use that one of the days, and then I typically use like a Pureology shampoo, which is like for color preservation on the other day. And then just, I have been using Olaplex #3 sometimes to help with the dead ends. I have a lot of heat damage because I use heat on my hair every day. I have naturally curly hair, but I don't wear it like that. I should. But yeah, that's typically what I do. And then lots of heat tools, unfortunately. Have you ever thought about doing an astrology series on your channel, like talking about basics? I'm definitely more intermediate on astro, but I love watching. You know, I have thought about it because I've been feeling very drawn to astrology, but I don't feel like I'm in a place where I'm a subject matter expert enough to be teaching people about astrology. I feel like I'm personally like just barely scratching the surface of it. And it's hard with astrology because there are so many different systems and there are so many different ways that everything can be interpreted that it kind of transparently kind of overwhelms me and I don't always know where to start. So I have this in front of me that I'll show you guys. I bought this workbook recently. It's called Guided Astrology Workbook, a step-by-step guide. And you basically go through with your own chart and you learn about what it means to have the moon and what sign and what house. And it helps you to like work through and learn your own birth chart and how to interpret it. But you can see with my little bookmark here, I haven't finished it yet. Astrology is always something that I start and then I like get distracted and I put it down. I haven't picked this book up in months. So, I mean, I would love to eventually get more into astrology, but I have to make the time to really study it. And I don't want to, I feel like there's already so much misinformation about astrology online that even for me, it's hard to like discern like what's pop astrology, what's fake astrology, what's accurate. Like, I don't know. So I would never want to be contributing to putting out info that's not accurate, but it is on my radar. The decks are so expensive. So I agree. Yeah. Do you see cards that jump out as extra significant? Like I personally do. So great question. For me, I feel like it depends. I completely lean on my intuition with jumpers. There are certain times where jumpers come out and I'm like, yeah, I have to take that. It's obvious. Most often it's when the jumper lands face up and I can see the image of the card. Now, if I'm shuffling and like half the deck falls out of my hands, that to me intuitively does not feel like I'm supposed to take half the deck and do a reading, right? Like to me, that's me just being a bad shuffler in that moment. I just drop the cards, I put it back in. And then if the card was supposed to come out, it'll come back out. That's how I look at it. So to answer your question, sometimes I do see them as significant. Sometimes I don't. It just depends on what my intuition is telling me in the moment. There have even been times where like, oh my gosh, I remember one of my videos, there was a pick a card reading that I did where I must have like intuitively felt like I wasn't supposed to take some jumpers that came out and I put them back in the deck. And I had people in my comment section lecturing me about how I'm supposed to take jumpers. And I'm just like, why are you guys telling me how to read on my own channel right now? You know what I mean? Like, I just lean on my intuition. So if it doesn't feel like I'm supposed to take it, I put it back in the deck. If it's supposed to come back out, it will. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm supposed to take it. I honor that. It just depends on the moment and how I'm feeling. Oh, that's pretty cool. Astrology is a lot like math for me. So I get easily confused. Yeah, that's how I feel too. Like it is a lot of information to absorb. Do you have any tips for shuffling round cards? Oh my gosh. I don't. They're so hard. My favorite Oracle deck is round, but I keep dropping them with my little gremlin hands shuffling. Oh my goodness. Bonnie is saying, I try to split up the deck to shuffle for the round cards and mix them together. I think that's a good best practice that Bonnie is sharing. Like there's this one Oracle deck that I have called the Tea Leaf Oracle, and all of them are round, and it's a pretty substantially large deck too. So I do that same thing with that. I cut them in half. It makes it a little easier to shuffle, and then, you can go from there. But yeah, the Wild Known Archetypes deck is another one that I love, but it's so hard to shuffle. It's crazy. The round decks are so aesthetically pleasing, but so like difficult to work with. Some of the tarot decks that are out right now are also really hard to shuffle. Like they make the cardstock so hard and inflexible that it's like, it hurts my hands. One that comes to mind is the Modern Witch Tarot, which I love that deck. The imagery, the inclusivity in it, like it's one of my favorites, but I don't always gravitate toward it because it's really difficult for me to maneuver. Neo says, whoa, super cute. Bonnie, I made my own Oracle deck using song lyrics. I got a blank card deck and sticker printer paper. That's awesome. Yeah. You can totally do your own Oracle decks. I do that too. I use them on the channel sometimes. I made one for time frames and I made one for career. And there are other ideas that I have that I would like to do as well. Abigail, degrees and aspects were really hard for me in the beginning, but Astro Charts has your aspects listed out and it helps because you don't have to use the chart on Astro Dance. Okay, well, that's good to know. Yeah. Neo, I actually want to make my own deck. Just don't know where I'd go to do that. I have Photoshop though ready to go. What site is good? So I think so I've never made my own like published a deck before, but I know that there is a site called makeplayingcards.com that a lot of creators use to create their decks. I know my friend Erica did that for her decks, and it's really cool because they actually just have a store there that you can set up and people just order the deck through that site and then ship it for you. So it takes you having to do all that extra work out of the equation and like pre-ordering decks and having them in your stock. It just all ships directly from makeplayingcards.com. So I would start there. You can design the cards there too. Or I'm pretty sure you could like upload your own artwork and imagery. Hopefully that helps. But again, I've never done it, so I'm not 100% sure how it works. Use some water. You're welcome. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this Friday night. I didn't have any plans, so I thought, why not? Check in on YouTube. I always get so nervous to go live by myself. I don't think I've ever gone live by myself on my channel before. I've always done it with Erica during Mercury retrograde, but this time I was moving during Mercury retrograde, so we couldn't. Which, by the way, never move during Mercury retrograde, because when I tell you, it got me so good. It's got me so good, you guys. It was insane. Yes, Abigail, I would like to. I like just coming on and like connecting with you guys. I want to be able to do that more frequently. Do you have any tips on launching a tarot business professionally? Well, I'm in the process of making mine official, so I definitely don't feel like I'm a subject matter expert in this. Right now, I am working behind the scenes with some legal counsel to help with filing my LLC, and I'm also going to work with them on trademarking some things. It's all very expensive. FYI. So one piece of advice that I would give would be make sure you have some extra money set aside, because there are fees associated with filing an LLC and trademarking. For me personally, I know that a lot of people do that stuff themselves or go through like LegalZoom and stuff like that, but I find a lot of value in hiring a professional that knows what they're doing so that I can make sure that I am set up for success, you know? I like partnering with other people though to do things. But yeah, the other thing too, Indigenous Kate, is I think having a website. So I like to think about, even though I'm still new and I'm going to be launching my website for the first time in the next few weeks, and I'm not a subject matter expert on this question in particular, but I like to think about client experience, right? And like what is going to deliver, you know, the best experience for the client. So having a website that's easy to book with, having a website that's easy for people to read and navigate is something that I'm working through right now. Even just like the experience and like the level of service that you deliver is super important. Like I've seen and experienced YouTube tarot readers who will take your money and then not deliver your reading. You know, I would never do something like that, or not communicate if something's running behind, or, you know, I worked in customer service for a lot of years, and working at places like, you know, Sephora, that was like very elevated. You're supposed to provide really elevated client service, you know, I think it's just ingrained to me to provide, you know, a high level of service to clients and put the client first in everything that I do. So those are just my thoughts. I feel like sometimes it's super beneficial for online tarot readers to do lives like these because it helps y'all connect with your audience and our energy. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Bonnie, I applied for a new apartment during their current retrograde. They gave me the wrong apartment complex. No. Luckily, the wrong apartment complex is still really nice. They own 2 different properties and messed up my paper. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But that's very like Mercury retrograde energy. Indigenous Gate. Yes, I've seen that too. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like a really big reader on YouTube did that to me. Like I booked a service with them and they just like gave me the runaround for weeks, months. And I was like trying to be flexible. Like I'm not here to harass you, but like I paid you $150. So eventually I was like, give me my money back. And I got my money back. But it's so unprofessional, and it gives all of us a bad name when we have people in the spiritual community who conduct business like that. It really plays into the scammer stereotype. Sharon, how do you recharge after a reading? I tend to get so drained after reading for just one person. So it depends. There are times where I get drained after one reading. There are times where I can keep going. I think it just depends on the reading that I'm doing and how clearly the messages are coming through for me. I think after a reading, it's always good to like meditate or just like put the cards away or do something where you can kind of just like shut your brain off a little bit. So whether that's like watching a show or doing a self-care practice, like taking a bath, or what else do I like to do? I like to paint as well. That's like a nice way to just like relax and kind of, for me, to kind of shut off. So I just think like any self-care practice where you don't have to think too hard and use so much of your mental energy is a good way to recharge. Go for a walk outside as well. Like going out in nature helps me. I love reading websites for booking readings that have multi-payment options. That's good to know. Yeah, hopefully I'm going to try to make sure that before I launch the website that I can work through any kinks before it goes live, because I want it to be a positive client experience. This is the first time that I've had my own website. So it's good to know that that is something that is important to you. I can make sure, because I hadn't thought about that. So I will make sure that I check for that on mine. You're welcome, Kate. I also don't like when readers swear in their readings. It's unprofessional. Yeah, I can see that perspective too. Everyone has different styles, and I think some people would probably like that because they feel like it's really like blunt and direct, or they might think it's funny, but I kind of agree with you. I think that you should conduct yourself with professionalism in anything you do, but yeah. Anything else, you guys? I'm starting to get a little more tired now. So I can probably hang out for a few more minutes. Bonnie, PayPal is good because it allows payment plans. Oh yeah. I saw, because I'm doing my website through Wix. I also saw they have like Klarna and Afterpay and some of those types of options too. But yeah, PayPal, it will be good. For sure. So let's, if you guys have any other like questions or thoughts you want to share, go ahead and type them into the chat. I can stay on for like another 9 minutes or so. And then I need to get ready for bed because I'm getting sleepy. PayPal's easy to use. It's a must-have. Okay, good feedback. Good to know. I will make sure that that's set up for you guys. I love your paintings in the background. Thank you. So I have a story about this. So there's actually, my camera is mirrored opposite. So here we go. So this painting right here, this actually belonged to my maternal grandparents. So my grandparents on my mom's side. It's a castle painting. I think it's a castle that's in Germany, but I don't know 100%. When I was a little girl, I always like loved and admired this painting because it was like, oh, it's a princess castle. And I always wanted it. It has like this gold frame that I thought was so glamorous at the time. So when my grandparents passed away, it was passed to me. And I've kept it in my beauty office room ever since because I feel like it fits the vibes. These are actually photos. So they're not paintings. These are my grandparents' wedding photos here. The same grandparents that owned this castle painting. So I have it here all together as like an homage to them because this was their painting and then their wedding photo. And these grandparents on my mom's side, they were always a little more like glam. They were both Taurus, sun signs, and they loved their nice things. Both sets of grandparents spoiled me for sure growing up and loved their grandkids. But like these ones were like extra. And so I just feel like their glam, like luxe energy just belonged in the beauty room, So that's why I have it all there together. I really love like learning more about my relatives and my ancestors and keeping their energy close to me. I just really cherish those relationships, and I miss my grandparents a lot. My grandma died when I was only like 14. I was in high school, and I just never felt like I got enough time with her, you know? My grandfather died when I was in like my early 20s. So he's been gone for a little while now, and then my other grandfather on my dad's side passed away last August, and now I just have my one grandma left. So I try to visit as often as possible because I know she doesn't have that much time. But anyway, I digress. I say all that to say my grandparents and my ancestors are really important to me. Family history is so fun, and I've been probing into some family history stuff that is quite mysterious. Maybe one day I will talk about it. I don't want to talk about it right now because this particular grandparent that I'm thinking of kept a lot of secrets. Even though I'm very proud of, you know, the challenges that they overcame, it was very difficult, you know, from what I understand of it. But they never wanted to talk about it. And so I am snooping and trying to learn some things. One day, maybe I'll share with you guys what I find because it's pretty interesting. And I think just like, you know, it's so easy to forget how such like traumatic and difficult situations happened during the time that our grandparents were growing up, like wars and things like that, you know, and other types of atrocities. It wasn't that long ago. And that stuff, I feel like does carry over generationally, you know, the after effects of that. So I'm rambling now. Anything else you guys want to chat about for like the next 6 minutes? I will cut it at 9 o'clock Eastern sharp just to make it even because that's just what I feel like I want to do. Bonnie, I did the DNA test because I didn't know much about my ancestors or grandparents. I was excited to know it was right about being South Asian on my dad's side. That's awesome. I did the ancestry DNA test as well and wasn't too surprised. My grandfather on my mom's side was born in Poland, so I was like 30% Polish. And I know that my relatives on my dad's side originated from Scotland, Ireland, Wales. So that came through. Yeah, but I think it's really interesting. And I love how now on Ancestry, it also breaks it down by like what region within the country. So like for me, like my Polish ancestry, it also breaks it down more granularly into like what city or town or like region that my ancestors would be from. Laziest Bee, thank you for going live. You're welcome. I'm really excited that I did this. It was just like an impromptu feeling that I had, like I need to go live. Oh my gosh, yes, I love the community Ancestry tells you about. Yeah, it's super cool. I think it's so important to learn about where we came from, you know? It broke it down to Sicily for the Italian side. Yeah, that's cool. I've been like really wanting to also learn more just about Poland because that's where my grandfather came from. I was thinking maybe I should learn the language, but I don't know if you guys ever looked at Polish. It's really hard. I started on Duolingo and I was like, I feel like I need a teacher because this is just really difficult right now. But as a Gemini, I feel like I should be a natural at languages, but I just never have been. I took Spanish when I was in school and something stuck. Like a lot of times, like when I hear people speaking Spanish, I can kind of understand what they're saying, but to like fluently speak it back, I can't do it. Probably just didn't practice enough. All right. Well, I feel like we're kind of winding down here. So if you guys have any other thoughts to share in the next 3 minutes, go ahead and type them in. I'm learning Japanese. I understand, but can't form my own sentence well. Yeah, that's kind of my similar experience when I was learning Spanish. Like, I think it's really important to be able to just practice speaking it in like real life situations for it to stick. Where are you learning Japanese? Are you like taking like an online class? Are you doing Duolingo? Are you in school? Where does one go to learn languages when you're an adult, not in college anymore? All right. And we have 5 people left. So Abigail, Polish is deaf something. My granddad is Serbian and never passed on much of the language. I've been trying to fill my gaps. It's fun but challenging. Yeah. I do Duolingo and also watch a lot of dramas and music. Oh, that's a good idea. Melissa, are you on dating apps? So do you have any advice for people that are? I am not on the apps. I have such a negative fixed mindset about the dating apps. I don't think I've been on one since I was like 26 or 27. So it's been like 8 years. But I do feel like when you're on the dating apps, well, actually, I can recommend somebody for you to go to on TikTok that would probably has a lot of good advice about dating apps. So there's this guy on TikTok that I follow who I love and adore. His name is Nico, and his channel is called The Daddy Academy. And he just makes videos for ladies about dating and gives really like grounded, practical advice on how to make sure that the man you're dating has daddy energy. So I would recommend checking him out if you haven't. He does cover stuff like dating apps. I feel like he's more of a subject matter expert than me because I've been not on them in a long time. With that dark hair and blue eyes, you look a bit like a young Megan Fox. Thank you so much. I think Megan Fox and I are actually like the same age though. So thanks for saying I look young. I'm actually 35. I'll be 36 on May 30th. I think she's around the same age as me, right? But thank you. That makes me feel really good because I've been actually thinking I need to get like Botox and maybe some filler. So maybe I don't need it as much as I think I do. I was on them 8 years ago and tried it recently. It's so different now. It's all, I can't see because this heart is in my way. It's all Tinder looking. Oh, yikes. Ugh. Maybe I'll venture back out. But I think for me right now, when it comes to dating, I just plan to get out into my new area and explore through doing activities that I enjoy. And I hope to organically meet someone. Maybe I'll try the apps again, but I don't know. I just feel weird. Like I feel too vulnerable for that right now. I think like taking pictures of myself, but like advertising myself in that way. Maybe it's the imposter syndrome coming up again. I don't know. I just don't feel like it's the vibe I'm in right now. Fun live. You should do more of these some other time. Good night. Good night. Thank you so much for stopping in. And yes, I will definitely do more of these because this was fun. You should do a reading. What do people initially find attractive about you? That's a good idea. I've seen other readers doing that. So I think that could be a good topic for the channel. So I will tell you guys, I've already pre-recorded all of my videos through the end of the month of May, with the exception of one. I actually got my very first brand sponsor that you guys will see. And it's kind of unexpected. It's like nothing related to tarot and spirituality, but it will be posted later this month. And I'm excited because it's with a brand that I actually really like, but it doesn't have anything to do with tarot. So be on the lookout for that. But most of the videos have already been recorded through the end of the month of May. And I haven't really fully started pre-recording June yet. So maybe what do people find attractive about you can go up in the month of June. I think she's around my age, 38, but she also had work done. So you're definitely doing really well. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, you guys. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap. We've already been on here for almost 2 hours. So thank you all so much for chatting with me and like listening to me ramble. This was really fun. Yeah, have a great night. And I will be back to do another live soon. And I'll continue to keep you all posted on, the status of me launching my website and rebranding and all of that stuff too. I'll keep you updated on community tabs so you know when I'm open again for bookings. And thank you guys for being patient with me, as I've transitioned through this move and not been booking services. I know it hasn't been the most convenient client experience, but I hope to come back better than ever. All right. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you in the next one.